I love this song. What you're listening to is the band Superdrag. The song is called Pine Away. It's from 1998. You know, I often get asked where are my top 5 favorite bands, which is hard to say because, let's be honest, I listen to a lot of music. But Superdrag has always been, since probably 1996, in my top 5 favorite bands. And they're one of those bands I always call criminally underrated. I feel like a lot of people should know about them. A lot do, but a lot more should know about them. Turn it up for dramatic effect. And I've also heard that this was, I don't know if this is true, I heard a rumor that this was the first song John Davis of Superdrag ever wrote. If that is true, I quit. I need to just give up. Because I've written a lot of songs, nothing as good as this. Not even close to as good as this. My God. The reason I bring up Superdrag tonight is you don't always meet people that cite them as one of their favorite bands. And in 2012, I was on tour with Evanescence, Chevelle, Hailstorm, and New Medicine. And obviously I was drumming for Kava. We were there too. And one night I was talking to a bunch of the crew, a bunch of the band members. And the bass player for Evanescence, Tim McCord, we were talking about his favorite bands. And he said, well, there's a lot of my favorite bands are bands you probably haven't heard of. And I was like, well, try me. And he said Superdrag was one of his favorite bands of all time. Needless to say, we became instant friends, and then I was playing drums for Tom Pappas of Superdrag when he's doing some solo shows, and Tim flew to St. Louis, and we threw a bunch of Superdrag songs into the set. So I have a YouTube video on my YouTube channel of us rocking up to Superdrag. Talk about full circle. I just love this song so much. This time I'm alright. But you also want to talk about full circle. Tonight, I've got Tim McCord of Evanescence live on the phone right now on my radio show. Dude, how have you been?
Good, dude. Just got back to the house from the video shoot.
Yeah, I saw you guys were shooting video, man, all together. You guys, it was all in the same room finally? Like old school times?
No, actually, Will, Troy, and Amy got together in Minneapolis last week, but I didn't want to get on a plane because of the whole COVID thing, so
Yeah.
I filmed my stuff separate. I did it here in Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
Got back and
the power of the video ways. I love that. It's very cool. It's funny to think back to the way things used to be filmed. Like, think about like the 1980s. That would not be possible. Or if it was, it'd be costing a lot of money. That's for sure.
Right, yeah. The director of the video was on Zoom the whole time. Like, he actually sent the cameraman and the crew from the actual video shoot here to do mine personally, which was pretty cool. He was on Zoom directing them. I was just up there doing my thing like I normally would, and got it done in like 2.5 hours, which is super awesome because like normal video shoot, you're there for like 12 hours. It's
strange to think, dude, because obviously you and I go way back and we met, touring together, and it's been an interesting year, especially for a band like Evanescence. I mean, you guys spend a lot of time on the road. How has it been over the past year just not being able to play shows and even music videos not being able to really appear together? How's that been for you, man? Like a total crazy experience like this?
It's different. It's different for sure, man. Like I can't say bored, but pretty heartbroken,
Yeah.
Like musicians, touring crews, production crews, everybody absolutely depends on this. It's the lifeblood, it's how people feed their families. It's just what folks like us do, So we got together. We were able to finish the record. It was awesome to be with each other in the studio, like even distanced, but it was still great. And it felt really good to be with Amy and the guys and rocking out and creating music and recording and all that. And we've been able to do a couple of live streaming shows, but it's not the same as being on stage and rocking out in front of thousands of people. Nothing can beat that. Nothing even comes close. But personally for me, it's a little different because with the whole lockdowns and all that, I've become my kid's school teacher.
Yeah.
they're not in live instruction and all that. So like the first half of my day, Monday through Friday, I'm correcting school papers and going over going over English and math and all that kind of stuff that I definitely didn't see coming my way, over a year ago for sure.
Yeah, man.
It's also been really good. I've been able to spend a lot of time with family, but there's also that itch, and it's like, okay, it's time to rock,
Yeah. What's funny, Tim, is a lot of my friends have similar stories like that. Their lives have changed in such a way. And one thing I've been asked constantly since everything started last March 2020 was a lot of people ask me like, oh man, don't you just miss touring? Don't you miss touring? And the joke's on them because I haven't toured in probably like 6 years. So nothing in my life has really changed all that much. I've been up here obviously doing that whole thing, doing the radio and stuff like that. But my life pretty much has kind of stayed the same. Obviously, I don't have any kids, but if I did, they would have been out of school as well, because here in Nashville it was a very similar situation. But it's just been strange to see the world that, I never thought in a million years that live music would go away. I think the last show I went to before all this went down was Soul Asylum, and Local H played over at this place called the Cowan here in town. And people were kind of talking a little bit about COVID and shows might go away. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? That's crazy talk. Well, I ate a big old bowl of my words because it really happened.
Right. A couple months later, the entire world is shut down, and we're all standing here twiddling our thumbs, just going like, oh, okay, what now? What are we supposed to do now? The industry grinds to a halt, and it feels like we're coming out of it. The vaccinations are here. Everybody's doing their thing. There's talk about venues opening. There's talk about touring resuming. That's all like, light at the end of the tunnel. It's all super cool.
Yeah.
It's just like, when,
Yeah.
when can we put an actual date on that? I guess it's unpredictable, lots of folks still need to get their vaccinations done and take it seriously and distance and mask in the meantime. And I don't know, follow the rules, whether they like it or not, so we can ensure that we can all get back to playing shows again, like as soon as possible,
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Speaking of shows, I was talking about you earlier in the show when we met. I know you joined Evanescence in 2006, right?
Yeah.
And so, and it was kind of a similar story to me, because you joined Evanescence, right, when it was like blowing up, and it was kind of the same with me joining Cavo. They already had their like song on the radio, and it was kind of going from like the van to the bus experience for me at least. But you and I met on tour in 2012 on Carnival of Madness tour, and it was funny because we had been on that tour together for probably a month before we actually met. Do you remember this at all? You may not remember this.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. I in my memory though, like, was it really that long into the tour? Because
maybe only a couple weeks,
like a couple weeks, or like a week or two before. I don't know. I think we crossed paths like the nightly Evanescence Chevelle Cavo cornhole tournaments. You know?
Yeah.
We sort of all came together, and I vibed out with you guys in Cabo instantly, like instant friend style, Then we spent the rest of the tour just hanging out.
Yeah, man, it was great. And I remember we were signing autographs, and you were standing next to me, and some girl was like, I was like, oh, you're Tim and you're Andy. And we met, and the girl was like, you guys haven't met yet? But I think people don't realize especially in my situation, I got that gig and I had to learn 15 songs in like 2 days. And so I was just happy to be there, and I was just trying to blend in. I didn't really know, my status among the band and stuff, but it was definitely one of those things. And you and I really bonded over our love of like indie rock bands like Super Drag and bands like that. And I'll never forget that conversation. You and I were talking, and you were like, I like a lot of like indie rock bands. You probably don't really know a lot of them. And we started talking, and you named Super Drag, and it immediately floored me. And then obviously a few months later, I was playing drums for Tom from Super Drag, and you flew to St. Louis, and I have that video on my YouTube channel of us rocking out to Super Drag songs in this like tiny club.
Such a good time.
It was so much fun. I haven't seen Tom in a while, but I'm hoping. I know he's been doing shows outside of his garage, like people can kind of stand outside the garage. And I haven't been to one, but I can only imagine, knowing Tom Pappas, I imagine it's like amazing right there in the garage.
I bet. That's an innovative idea, do some literal garage rock, like we're 15 years old again, but bring your friends.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool that we're 40 now. Do it anyway.
Yeah. Dude, isn't that weird, man? I just turned 38 a couple days ago, and it's just such a trip. It's like, how did this happen? In my mind, we're all still, 27, 28, but somehow time just sneaks up, and then boom. And so how is it touring differently now? I mean, because now you guys, I know Amy's married, and I know you're married, you have children, and how are things like touring now? I guess I should say in 2019, how are they different than the old days, and what's changed exactly?
I mean, nothing really, except for I'm way more tired than I used to be. I'm always, I've got young children. I'm in dad mode all the time, whether I want to be or not. I just am. Like I'll be on stage and I'll wonder, how are my babies right now? Are they cool? Are they driving my wife crazy, or are they burning the house down? Oh no! Then I'll my thoughts will start to drift. I'll be headbanging, but I'll also be like imagining my house on fire. It's fun. It's a life for me personally. It's way better than it was in the old days, because like my entire life leading up until I found my wife and got married and we had our babies, my entire life was leading up to that moment,
Yeah.
Like to me the family life that I've always wanted is the big payoff. And so now it's just all about preserving, taking care of the people I love, doing the job I love, and just generally, just enjoying life, Touring's a little bit different now because I don't know, back in the day I was a night owl. Like I didn't have a set bedtime or anything, and now if I'm awake past 11 p.m., something's wrong. It's like I don't know, I'm 42 next month, in June. Me in my 40s does not have the energy that I did in my mid-20s, on tour, I'll be in my hotel rooms and like I'll realize that I watched the news for 3 hours, which like me when I was 25, 26, I'd be like, what are you doing, dude? Turn that off, have fun.
It's so true.
For me, finding out what's going on in the world is fun. I guess it's just natural growing up,
It's funny you say that, because some of the last one-offs I did back like in early 2020, right before everything happened, it was funny because in the old days, you're right, it was a constant party. I know you and I did our own fair share for sure partying together. And I remember I was playing a show somewhere, and me and Brian, the bass player, there was a big club next door to the hotel, and it was still pretty early, probably like 10:30 after we got back. And there was a big sign out front. It was just like all these different sales, and the bar looked huge, and it was a line out the door. And in old days, we'd head over there, and I was like, Brian, look at that club. We should go hit that up. And instead, we got in bed and watched Saturday Night Live. So you definitely feel a difference. But I noticed it too. I've actually played shows this year. I don't know if you know this, but I went to Alaska in July whenever numbers and cases were low up there. And I was drumming for a band called Framing Hanley because they needed a drummer to fill in. And it was us, Saliva, and Alien Ant Farm. And it was wild, man, because I'm kind of like you. Like, I don't have a lot of the same responsibilities you have, but I'm in such a work mode coming up here all the time that I was getting up. I was going to bed pretty early, but I was getting up at like 6 and going and sightseeing. I think the band kind of was annoyed by me because they were all kind of hungover, and I was coming back from the gift shops at like 8 a.m., so.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that is totally how it goes for me. Like Monday through Friday, I'm up at 6 a.m. every day, making breakfast for the kids and, just generally being responsible. And, I've been like that for years now, but like, we'll hit the road and some of the guys are like, hey, let's do something. I'm like, no, no way, man. I gotta go to bed. Everybody's like, dude, you're an old man. I'm like, I'm younger than you guys, but still gotta go to bed.
Yeah, dude. So tell me something about this Evanescence live stream coming up on May 13th. And I'd like to point out, dude, that I looked online. I don't think it's even been announced yet. So to that, I would like to say whoops. But tell me something if you can. What can you possibly say about the Evanescence live stream coming up on May 13th here in Nashville, Tennessee?
We're going to get together and perform. We'll probably do as much of the new record as possible. Then,
nice.
Sprinkle in the hits. I don't know how much time we get or how many songs we can play, but I'm pretty sure I can speak for Amy and the guys and, say that we're definitely itching to play the new material more than anything. I mean, our last record was our most current music for the last 10 years. And we've played we've played the hell out of those songs so many times that it's like, okay, now we need to play the hell out of the new songs.
I've been loving the new record, by the way. I've been spinning a lot of the tunes up here, and I have a blog. I'm putting a lot of those songs in there, and I think you guys sound just as amazing as always, man. And it's interesting to see bands that put out records right now can't tour on them. You're seeing a lot of bands that are just kind of like putting out these albums, and it's like, man, I would love to hear that stuff live. So I'm hoping, are you guys thinking maybe by the end of 2021, maybe you guys will get back out there? I assume you don't have any definite plans.
Well, we have the tour in September in Europe with Within Temptation.
Oh, nice.
That is booked. I don't know whether or not that's been moved, or if there's any official word on whether or not we're doing it or rescheduling it. I'm not sure. There's talk of some things later in the year, but once again, like there's no yes, we can do this. There's no we can't do this, but there's plenty of we want to do this. Yeah. So unfortunately, we just have to wait and see, Until then, we just filmed the video for the current single. I was the last band member to shoot my bits. I literally just got home from doing that like an hour ago. We're going to do the live streams, and I'm sure there will be opportunities here and there to do something to promote the record or play for the fans or anybody interested. For now, I mean, all I can really recommend to anybody that is interested is check out the album and see if it pleases you, and rock the hell out to it.
Well, Tim, it's been an honor having you call in, man. I know we're old friends, but it's honestly an honor just to get you on the show. And one thing I do with bands whenever they come on the show is I have them play a 5 random question game. Are you down to play, my man?
Always.
All right, let's get this music going. Boom. All right, 5 random questions. Tim McCord on the Local Buzz. So it is Easter Sunday. So I have one question for you. Peeps or no thanks?
Oh, hell no, man. I hate peeps. You bite into it, and I can just like feel my teeth telling me like, go to hell. This is horrible,
It is a really strange texture. Question number 2 on the Local Buzz with Tim McCord. What's one thing, like I was saying earlier, people keep asking me, do you miss touring? Do you miss touring? What's one thing that you're so tired of either hearing or being asked this past year?
I can't say I'm tired of hearing anything, because the only stuff I ever get asked is the obvious question. When are you guys going to play shows? I don't know. I guess I can call it annoying, because my answer is always the same, is your guess is as good as mine. When the world resumes, we will resume.
Question number 3 with Tim McCord of Evanescence on the Local Buzz. So you can go back in time and play guitar or bass on one of your favorite records. What would it be? What album are you thinking?
Oh, that is such a good question. Can my answer be both guitar and bass? Because I do both.
Absolutely, man.
If I could go back and play guitar and bass on any Police record, I absolutely would. Like any of them.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Yeah. That and sort of an obscure band from the early to mid '90s called Shudder to Think. Probably, up there with Superdrag, one of my favorite bands of all time. They put out an album called Pony Express Record.
Yes, love that record.
It's not necessarily my favorite record of theirs, but it's something I've always super looked up to, guitar and bass wise, everything wise, really. Just like, if I could go back in time and be a part of that, that's a dream.
Question number 4, Tim McCord of Evanescence on the Local Buzz. Did you see this thing about Lil Nas X and these Satan shoes that he's got coming out?
No.
So he's making these shoes, and they're called Satan shoes. I guess he partnered up with Nike or somehow used their logo, but they supposedly have 1 drop of human blood in each shoe, and they're going to cost like $1,000. But I wanted to ask you, no thanks, or maybe the blood in these shoes will finally help this white boy be able to jump.
That's a resounding hell no. And, honestly, dude, I've got no interest in jumping. I'm too old for that. My feet are staying on the ground. I never could dunk anyway. I'm a 3-point guy.
Yeah, same.
Funny about that, though, is I actually got compared to Lil Nas today. Oh,
wow, really?
My wife from the video shoot posted some behind-the-scenes picture of me, and I guess I'm walking into a hazy red room in one of the stands, on Twitter or Instagram or something, and said it looks like Tim's walking into the Little Nas video.
Dude.
And then they made a Photoshop picture of me and posted it online with it's the same photo of me, but I'm photoshopped next to Lil Nas in his devil outfit, and I thought that was pretty funny.
That is amazing. You're getting younger fans. Look at that. I love that. The whole new generation's discovering you guys just because Lil Nas X. That's amazing. Question number 5, the final question with Tim McCord of Evanescence. So I had this really weird dream last night. I had this dream. I don't know what it means, but I died in the dream, but I could still be at my own funeral. And a lot of people were there. I felt pretty cool. But on my tombstone, it was engraved this: I try to say goodbye and I choke. I try to walk away and I stumble. Though I try to hide it, it's clear my world crumbles when you are not near, which is the lyrics to a Macy Gray song. I have no idea why. So I wanted to ask you, if you had to pick one song that you wouldn't mind having the lyrics on your headstone, what song would it be?
Can it be more of a limerick?
Of course.
Right on. It would have to be, here I sit broken-hearted, tried to but only farted.
My favorite song. I love that.
Oh yeah. So good.
Dude, well, thanks for playing, man. I love that. New Evanescence record's out right now, The Bitter Truth. Go check it out now. It's been so great having you on. I can't wait till things get back to normal. The last time I saw you was at the Ryman when I was just hanging out with you backstage before you played, and I can't wait to see you again, man. It's been so long.
You too, dude. You've always, ever since the day we met, you've always been one of my favorite dudes, and I lament and I feel sorry that we haven't been able to spend much time over the years. But next time we're around, we definitely got to take advantage of this, and we should definitely not be strangers.
Gonna hold you to that, man. Tim McCord of Evanescence. And I'd like to apologize to the Evanescence crew. I had no idea that show was not announced as far as I knew. So in all honesty, it truly was. It really, truly was. In all honesty, it really, truly was. But check out the live stream nonetheless. Evanescence brand new records out now. And I will see you guys soon. This has been The Local Buzz. I have been Andy Herrin. See ya.